The abortion pill showdown. Mifepristone remains on shelves after the Supreme Court's decision on Friday to keep it available for women across the country. That's at least for now.
So where do we go from here? Let's bring in ABC senior national correspondent Terry Moran, who's covered the high court for years. Terry, thanks so much for being with us. So tell us more about this ruling. What about this decision stood out to you?
It was stunning and really dramatic, Eva. At least 5 of the justices of the Supreme Court saying enough about what was going on in Texas. There was something really wild and reckless about the pace of this litigation that was out to ban mifepristone and what had happened in the federal courts. The FDA has been around for a century. This is the first time in the history of the FDA that a federal judge had blocked a drug that had already been approved by the FDA for safety reasons. And that had never happened before. And it threw the pharmaceutical industry, $625 billion industry, into turmoil, to say nothing of the millions of American women who want to have access to this drug. 5.8 million have used it safely. And so what the Supreme Court saw here was the pace of this litigation and the way it came into court. In the doctors, the pro-life, anti-abortion rights doctors, did they really have a direct interest in this case, or were they just exercising a political opinion through a friendly judge? Time out, the Supreme Court said, stopped it. And it is surprising, just less than a year after they overturned Roe versus Wade, that they took this side.
Terry, that timeout, as you call it, the stay that was issued Friday, this case is far from over. So talk to us a little bit about what happens next. Could the Supreme Court, will the Supreme Court get it back? And if so, around when do you think?
Yeah, they sure could, Phil. So what the Supreme Court has done is send this case back down to the appeals court. Now, the appeals court was looking at the federal district court ruling that would have banned mifepristone altogether across the country. What the appeals court did was say, well, that's too much, but let's see about the more recent liberalization of access to mifepristone. The notion that a woman could get it 7 weeks into a pregnancy rather than 10, that she didn't have to go to the doctor 3 times in person, that it could be done through telehealth with one appointment, and that it could be delivered through the mail. All those things the Fifth Circuit rolled back, even though there was volumes of safety evidence showing that this was a safe and effective way for women to get what they want and need from their doctors. And so what will happen now, May 17th, the appeals court will have a hearing on this issue. Should these restrictions go into place, or should they be paused while the trial will continue down below? And in that case, you won't get the same judges who originally approved it. It's unlikely. And while the Fifth Circuit's very liberal, won't be these same judges. So it depends on what they do. But it's likely that at some point this issue does get back to the Supreme Court, probably sometime next year.
So what does this mean for patients right now and looking forward?
Well, great question. So right now, Eva, it's the same as it ever was, basically. Mifepristone remains available to American women who want it through a doctor, telehealth or otherwise, under the exact same conditions that it has been available for years. What could happen next is if that litigation decides, a judge or a panel decides that it should be restricted or banned, well, that'll go back to the Supreme Court. But I would say, so the May 17th hearing is when the appeals court hears it. If it's a normal hearings process, that'll take a few months for the court to come up with its ruling and opinion, and then that could be appealed to the Supreme Court sometime next year.
ABC senior national correspondent Terry Moran, thank you so much for breaking that all down for us.
Thanks.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Lots of great stuff here. So go on, click the subscribe button right over here to get more of awesome videos and content from GMA every day, anytime. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the morning on GMA.